Hello, and welcome back to the vlog. So I wanted to start a series on this channel where I start vlogging my life more, showing you guys the day-to-day. I'm still trying to come up with like what this series is going to be called, but today is day one of that series. So if you have any ideas of what we should call this series, comment that down below and I'll take a look at that. I didn't have work today, so I've had all morning to just kind of relax. I'm doing glutes today, so that'll be a fun workout to film. I'm thinking for my pre-workout meal, I'm going to be making some French toast, some Greg Doucette style French toast, if you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, I'm about to put you onto something really tasty. So that's the plan for this morning. This is my cat's favorite spot to sit, right on top of the air fryer. Can hardly even see her because she blends right in. I don't know why she likes being perched up there so much, but she does. Okay, so all you need for this French toast recipe is like low calorie or keto bread. This is like the Sara Lee 45 calorie bread. Some egg whites, sponsored by Costco. You guys know I'm such a Costco fanatic. And some protein powder. With this, bodybuilding.com, you can get 20% off using code Erin. This is the oatmeal cookie kind. I find that something like vanilla or cinnamon, or this is oatmeal cookie and it tastes really good in French toast, but whatever kind you like. In your shaker bottle, you're just gonna add however much egg whites. I find for 4 slices of bread, I use 180 grams, and that usually works out pretty good. But this, you can customize this to your macros or your liking. We're gonna add 1 scoop of protein powder. That's it for the batter. That's all you need. I spray the pan with the 0 calorie spray or whatever. Not 0 calorie, low calorie, you know. So nothing sticks. So now we have the pan heating up. And the rest of this process is the same as making normal French toast. We've got the first one going on the pan. Probably should have let that heat up a little bit more, but it's good. Look at how good that looks. There you have it. The perfect French toast. I've gotten really good at making this by now because I've been eating it constantly since after the show. It's been my little hyper fixation meal. Anyways, I top this off with some sugar-free maple syrup. This only has like 3 carbs for 2 tablespoons, so I'm gonna put on 2 tablespoons. Lay it out. Sometimes it can be the condiments keeping you from reaching your goals, even with the sugar-free stuff, you know. It does add up, so try to be consistent with stuff like this, you know. I'm also gonna put on some cinnamon. This is gonna be my meal. The gym, it should be pretty good. A little bit of carbs, a little bit of protein. I'm gonna scarf this down real quick. Looks pretty delicious. I bet you want some of this. No. You know I make good French toast. Now I have to figure out what I'm gonna wear to the gym. It's always a struggle. Doing glutes today, so babe, I have nothing to wear. I don't have anything to wear.
You have nothing to wear?
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the clothes you have. What do you mean? You have a shit ton of clothes. You have plenty of things to wear.
None of them are good. Maybe this cropped, whatever you want to call this. I like wearing navigation shorts on glute days because if you know, you know. So I'm thinking these blue ones, that might be the vibe. And I kind of want something to throw over it though, like over all this. Let's do the shorts with the shirt. I'm gonna throw on this like long sleeve pump cover. This is from Able. I have a code with them too that'll save you, I forget how much off, but it'll save you some money. So just this plain white long sleeve tee. Changing that, and then I need to do something with this hair because it's kind of frizzy. I gotta get some pre-workout mixed and then go to the gym. This is the pre-workout I'm taking, Rainbow Sherbet. I actually prefer the blue slushy flavor, but I'm out of that, so this is gonna do for today. But the ingredients and the overall performance of this pre-workout is really good, and I really enjoy it. I'm on my way to Gold's right now. I was working out at this other, like, bodybuilding type gym, and I enjoyed it for a little bit, but it was just, the vibe was definitely off. Essentially, what happened was, well, I tell the full, like, story on my TikTok, so if you want to, like, know exactly what happened, you can go there. They dress coded me for wearing, like, a romper, even though their rule was no sports bras. So I just wasn't really vibing with them anymore. The owner kind of sent me a rude message, so I'm back at Gold's. Anyways, the whole reason behind that tangent was you kind of get into your routine at one specific gym, like, you know what exercises you're gonna do, what machines you're gonna use. You kind of have your plan and your layout because you know what equipment you like, and you know, Gold's was my original home gym, like that's where I started lifting, but I did kind of get into my routine at the other gym, and I kind of forgot what some of the equipment is like at Gold's. So this entire week I've kind of been struggling to get back into the swing of things, but I think after this week of kind of just like getting back into my old habits that I'm gonna be good again. But it's just kind of been sucky workouts this week, if I'm being honest. But you do what you can. I'm thinking for this glute workout, I'm going to start with, well, after my warm-up, after I walk on the treadmill for a little while and do my little dynamic warm-up, I'm thinking I'm going to do some cable kickbacks and like glute medius kickbacks and cable like press downs. If you guys don't know N1 Education or follow them on Instagram, they were the ones that I stole these type of kickbacks I've been doing, and it's really been beneficial in filling out the upper glute, which is what we want for the competitions. So yeah, I'll go over that a little bit more when I'm doing them, but that's going to be the first movement, I think. And then I'm also going to be doing some glute bridges on the Smith machine. Coach Kassem, the owner of N1 Education, I believe, I'm almost 90% sure that the name cast glute bridge came from him as well, like kind of invented that. So that's going to be the second movement. I'm going to be doing a glute biased RDL after that with dumbbells, I believe. I find that a dumbbell RDL, I'm able to bias my glutes more. When I'm on a barbell or Smith machine, it's easier to bias my hamstrings. Not saying either one is incorrect, but today we are trying to hit glutes. And then probably some hyperextension, and usually I only need 4 or 5 exercises to really do it. If you're really pushing or to really fatigue yourself, you shouldn't need more than 4 or 5 movements. If you are lifting heavy enough during those movements and during your sets and really making sure the time spent is quality time. That's the plan for the lift today. I'm thinking about putting a mic on for this workout. I hate talking in front of people at the gym. I would rather film in front of strangers, but this gym, like, I've been lifting at since I was in high school, and I also worked here for 3 years, so everybody here knows me. So I just feel like, oh, everyone's judging me all the time. People also aren't really paying that much attention to you is something you kind of gotta realize. I used to have the worst gym anxiety, and it's just like, people really don't care. Like, nobody's paying attention to you because because they're paying, hopefully, attention to themselves. I'm gonna sit here and delete a bunch of footage off of this card because it's almost full. And then I'm gonna go into the gym and get this workout done. Every single time I do legs, I start by warming up my core. And the reason why this is so important is if you can't hold your core, most likely your low back is going to start kicking in for most of the movement. If you're feeling your low back the entire time you're doing glutes, you're not feeling your glutes, and it's really hard to get that mind-muscle connection. So I start with warming up my core. That way my glutes can be the focus of all of the movements. Usually this warm-up consists of lying leg raises and planks, and that's about it. Nothing crazy, because I'm not trying to build up a blocky core, especially for competing. You still want a tiny waist, so nothing that's gonna build up these muscles too much. You still want to keep a small waist. So I'm going to start with glute press backs, and then I'm going to move on to the glute medius, like sideways kickbacks. For these ones, I like to use the free motion cables because they can move however I want them to move, really. So I'm setting this up in a comfortable spot where it's like parallel to the ground and I can hold onto it for stability. You want to hook in your inside leg. That way I have tension pulling the entire time, and the idea is that I'm pushing down and kicking back diagonally at the same time. So I let my leg come across my body, like so, and then press diagonally back. Get that full stretch here, and then contract to press it back. And this is feeling really light, so I'm gonna have to wait. You can go pretty freaking heavy on these because the leg is bent, so you have your glute max doing the work. And that's a pretty strong muscle. Instead of thinking like a kickback, I'm thinking like I'm pushing something down. Driving from my knee. Then letting that come across. And I'm probably going to do like 3 more sets of those, and then I'm going to move on to glute medius kickbacks. I'm going to move on to medius kickbacks. So again, this should be parallel, maybe for these a little bit lower than parallel, so kind of like this. Going to have to go way down in weight from what we were doing before, because you can't do nearly as much weight with this part of your glute as you can with the glute maximus. So I'm still hooking the inside leg, and I want to be standing far enough away that I can let this come all the way across my body like that. And I'm keeping my legs straight as I'm kicking diagonally back at like a 45-degree angle. Just like that. Just like the other ones, I'm doing 3 sets of 12 to 15. These are one of those exercises that starts off easy and gets really hard really fast. I'm gonna do 2 more sets of that. I see a lot of people online hate on like glute accessory work, such as kickbacks, hyperextensions. I know a lot of people preach you need to do the heavy squats, do the heavy deadlifts to build the muscle, which I think is true to an initial extent. You have to do a lot of squats, deadlifts, heavy compounds to build your legs up initially, but I also think it's important for especially bodybuilding type training, if you're going to be on stage, to focus on the more minute things like carving out your tie-ins or filling out the upper outer part of the glute, which is the feedback that a lot of competitors get. So stuff like this I think is just as important. If you've never worked out before and you're trying to build up your glutes initially, I would really focus on those heavy compounds for that initial building block of size, if that makes sense. Moving on to glute bridges, or hip thrusts / glute bridges. This is a perfect example of one of the exercises where if you're not holding your core, you're not going to feel your glutes at all. So what I've been doing here is 10 like full range of motion hip thrusts, and then immediately into bridges until I burn out. I see a lot of people here let their pelvis go before anything else, but really you want your whole torso to kind of be doing the movement. For dumbbell RDLs, I use grips. I would highly recommend getting some of these for leg days, because if I'm focused on the burn in my forearms and fingers and hands, I'm not going to be able to focus very hard on the muscle connection to my glutes. So this takes all of the focus off of my grip and onto my glute. I also use a belt, and this just helps me keep my core tight. I try not to rely on it, but it is a helpful tool for keeping a tight core. When I do these, I want to keep the dumbbells close to my legs, and I want to keep all the weight in my heels. Range of motion is pretty small, just down to below my knees and up to the middle of my thighs. You also might start feeling your back if you're locking out every time you do these at the top. And all the weight is in my heels, and I want to feel like I'm going to press something and touch something behind me with my glutes. And that'll keep you from feeling your low back too. If you have the dumbbells way out here and your legs are straight, that's all your hamstrings and low back. I'm probably going to do 3 or 4 sets here. Finish off this workout with some hyperextensions, and I'm going to do 2 sets of these, but kind of like a drop set type situation. I'm going to hold weight for my first like 12 to 15 until I burn out. Then I'm going to drop the weight, finish off the set body weight for another like 12 to 15. And I'm going to do these with a slight bend in my knees and kind of like a duck foot angle, but not too crazy, to keep the focus on my glutes, but also to protect my knees and keep some of the tension off of my hamstrings, since that's not what we're focusing on today. That was a pretty solid lift, considering I didn't have a ton of time. I gotta get out of here now because, as some of you probably know, Dustin is competing this weekend. This is the same show that I won the overall last year. So tomorrow he's gonna be on stage again, and I'm gonna watch him and just be cheering him on. It's a little bit sad I'm not competing, because you guys know this show is special for me. It was my first ever show and I won the overall, so it holds a special place in my heart for sure. That was a pretty good workout, pretty pumped. My camera's gonna die here pretty soon, and I think I'm gonna end the vlog there because I just want to focus on getting Dustin ready and checked in tonight. So yeah.